YouTube, today I am ranking every major boss from the Elden Ring DLC. This is all 11 Remembrance bosses, ranked from S tier to F tier. There's no D tier, okay? If you're liking the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm almost at 100 subs. So if we could hit the 100 sub button, it'd be hit the 100 sub mark, it'd be really appreciated. And I'm also streaming this tier list right now live on Twitch. So I'm also at 186 followers on Twitch. So if you guys could just drop a follow on the Twitch channel as well and get closer to 200 follows, it'll also be really appreciated. And lastly, if this video performs well enough and you guys want me to, I might drop a video highlighting, it'd be a compilation of my first and last attempt at each major boss in the DLC, showcasing sort of how I beat them, how long it took me to beat them, and yeah, that'd basically be the video. Anyways, let's just get to the tier list. Alright, so, yeah, like I said, we got S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, F tier. S tier is basically categorized as like a 10 out of 10 boss fight. Like, the boss fight, it was just from the atmosphere to the move sets to just the rhythm and everything, it's just a perfect boss fight. A tier is like, I really enjoyed it. Just like one little gripe that, you know, just didn't really, you just can't make it a 10 out of 10 boss fight, you know? B tier is basically A tier, but there was just a couple just major glaring issues that just, it just couldn't get an A+, you know? C tier is just, I think it was a boss fight, you know? It was definitely a boss fight, and F tier is just a boss that I fucking hate. I'm gonna have to bleep that out, because I just swore into like the first minute of the YouTube video, but you get the idea. It was just, I didn't enjoy it, I didn't enjoy beating it, and yeah. So, I'm gonna go in chronological order of like, the first like 4 like mandatory bosses, then the optional ones, and then finally, the final boss. I'm assuming if you click this video, you already know there's spoilers. If you're mad that there's spoilers, I'm sorry, bro. Just, I don't know what else you expected. But first we have Dancing Lion Beast, or Divine Beast Dancing Lion. This one, I enjoyed it, okay? For those, let me explain first. My build was a quality build with Bloodhound's Fang. So, I have the pleasure of Bleed and Poise Break. And for the most part, this boss fight was pretty good. I think it took me around, let me pull up, I gotta pull up the doc. It took me 50-ish minutes to beat. So pretty good amount of time. I feel like if a boss takes around an hour-ish to beat, that's a good difficulty for Soulsborne Ring boss, you know? And for this one, I'll rank it B tier. The reason why is it's a big boss, so sometimes the camera gets a little annoying. And then also, it like switching between like storms, electricity, and frost is cool. I just absolutely hated the frost portion. For whatever reason, I could deal with the storm and the electric moves. The moment it hit frost, dude, and I just got frostbitten, I was like, dude, I don't know what to do. So that part always annoyed me. Like, you'll see in the clip where I beat him, he switches to frost mode, and I just go, are you serious right now? Like, I was so mad the moment he switches to frost. Thankfully, I got lucky and had everyone experiences this in a Soulsborne game when the boss is 1 HP and then he goes for the easy move to dodge, and you're just like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you. He did like his little grab move. That shit was easy. That's like level 1. If you don't know how to dodge that move, you're not beating him, because I'm pretty sure that move's like a one-hit KO. But yeah, I thought it was, for most part, it's good. Just camera issues, and I just did not like the frost phase at all. Next up is arguably, I think it was probably the second. For me, it was the second hardest boss. But I think for the majority of people, this boss was probably the second hardest, if not the hardest. And that's Rellana. This might be a hot take. I don't know. I think it's an A tier boss. This probably of all the boss fights here, this one felt the most like an actual Dark Souls boss. I mean, I drew the parallels. The moment you just see 2 swords, you kind of already draw the parallel to Pontiff. And Pontiff, outside of second phase Pontiff, I really enjoyed the Pontiff boss fight. Second phase Pontiff is always annoying. It's always annoying when you have to fight 2 things instead of 1. Unless it's Ornstein and Smo. I do enjoy Ornstein and Smo. I don't know if that's a hot take either, but this one, my only real gripe with Rilana is just the health pool. Now, it does turn out that I thought, when I fought Rilana, I didn't know that you could get past, like, Rilana without fighting her and grab more Shadow Tree Fragments. The Shadow Tree Fragments, or whatever. So, her immense health pool is actually avoidable. Apparently, you can keep exploring around Rilana and, like, avoid her to the point where you can get Shadow Tree Fragments to, like, you know, do more damage to her. So, her health pool is avoidable. However, with the health pool, this took me 5 hours to beat. Okay? And that 5 hours, like, you know what I told you my build. Quality Bloodhound's Fang, okay? I ran, also in my offhand, the Scarlet Rot Dagger, just to give me that extra chip to, like, when she isn't engaging with me, so that I actually had the ability to, like, slowly deal damage. And if you check, like, my attempts before and after trying the Scarlet Rot Fang, or Dagger, you can see that the Dagger actually pays off dividends and does, at, like, I think 1/8 of her health, which is massive against something that you just have to slowly chip away. And I also have the privilege of using Bloodhound's Fang, so that means my skill gives me iframes, Bloodhound's Finesse gives me iframes, which helps a lot when doing regular sword swings barely does any damage, so you can actually go for your skill moves and not be too vulnerable and actually, like, do decent damage to your health. Because the nice thing about Bloodhound's Finesse is, if you don't know, it's like the best move that you have access to when you have Bloodhound's Fang. It does good poise damage. Obviously, it's a bleed weapon, so it does bleed, and you get iframes, and it does so much more than, like, your weak swings that, like, if you did an opening, you might as well just go for that instead of the weak swings. And, like, sometimes some, like, bosses, you have the ability to, because it's it's a combo move. It's left trigger and then right trigger. Some bosses, like Rilana, for example, you have the ability to go for the right trigger combo and just avoid a hit. And you can get away with you can get a little cocky and get away with stuff you really shouldn't be getting away with if you had a regular weapon. And that's basically what I did. You'll even see in the clip of me beating her, at one point I had gotten down to literally this much HP. And because I ran my physic build, normally I run significant damage negation and stance break increase. I switched to full restore HP, and that was why. Because the boss fight took so long that sometimes you would just run out of flasks and you needed one more. And I honestly needed Cerulean Tears flasks to keep doing my Bloodhound's Finesse. So that's basically... I think it was a great boss fight. I know I'm too busy yapping about my strategy. I think it was a great boss fight if you just remove... If the health pool wasn't so absolutely ginormous, it's a great boss fight. Like, it's a 10 out of 10 boss fight, I think, if you remove the health pool. I know people were complaining about, like, the Renala's the double moon move. I think I only died to that 3 times. For me, personally, it wasn't that much of an issue. And I didn't jump over it. Apparently, the optimal strategy is to jump over it. I rolled through it. You can see in the clip where I beat her, I rolled through it. So that move wasn't particular. So overall, I really enjoyed it. It's just the health pool is a lot. Health pool is a lot, and for people playing casually, I would totally understand using a summon with that fucking health pool. It's just ridiculous. It's literally, the health pool is so big you could drown in that shit. That's how deep the health pool is. You know? You gotta get the damn lifeguard in there. Okay. Next boss. Mesmer the Impaler. So, this boss took me 40 minutes. I don't think it was supposed to take me 40 minutes. I think I got really lucky to the point where the first time I got to his phase 2 was when I beat him. His phase 2 was so easy for me that I was able to just guess on when his moves would hit and dodge correctly. That being said, I say I got lucky because I'm pretty sure when I saw a clip of like Queso fighting Mesmer in phase 2, Mesmer did his crazy moves, like his moves from phase 1, but like the crazy spear move where he goes like and then like jumps down or whatever. He did that move, which to me would seemed like his most annoying move in phase 1. I got lucky and he never did that phase 2. Plus, I'm running Bloodhound's Fang, so I got a stance break on phase 2 and bleed. I got every single optimal thing you could have wanted for a phase 2. So this one took me 40 minutes. That being said, those 40 minutes, it was fun. To me, that one like rapid jab spear move was the only time he ever felt unfair, and it was one move. And what I've learned from Elden Ring is if a boss only has one unfair move, that's a wonderful thing. Because there are a lot of bosses with like 2 or more just annoying moves, which we will talk about later. But yeah, overall, I thought it was cool. His cutscene into phase 2 is insane. I thought overall really cool, and it's really funny too. The first time I encountered him, I was like, "What is this boss room? What is this room?" I was like, "Please don't be a boss." And then I enter it, and I saw a snake, and I was like, "Please don't be Mesmer. Please don't be Mesmer." And then it was Mesmer. So I encountered him completely on accident. It only took me 40 minutes. I got lucky with him. I thought it was a pretty good boss fight. I also feel like I can't rank him too high because it only took me 40 minutes, so I really couldn't appreciate the boss fight in its like entirety. I'm also now realizing that I'm missing a boss, so I'll put that here. But yeah, I think Mesmer is a solid A-tier boss. I might move these around as we go, but for now, Mesmer, I think it's a pretty solid A-tier boss. Romina, this boss took me, I believe, 3 attempts. The first attempt I fought her was like, it was the first time attempt, and I'm like, okay, I'll come back to her later. And when I came back to her later, I just died to her once. So I think this is a solid B tier, maybe A tier. The problem is, like I said, when you beat a boss early, like really fast, you can't really truly appreciate it, I think. So, but that being said, the aesthetics, like just the vibe of the boss, like the butterflies and whatnot, normally when you associate like Scarlet Rot, like obviously Millennia, everyone's favorite. But like to me, you just think of Caelid, like this absolutely just disgusting, horrid wasteland of like fungus and rotting to death dragons, and then like this Romina Saint of the Bud is like this gorgeous figure, like this centipede and butterflies and everything. And I thought it was cool. So overall, I think I liked the boss a lot. I did. I don't really have too much to say about it. I would say B tier was, I beat it really fast, and to me, there was never, I wasn't really wowed by it, you know? And I think that's part of the reason. I thought outside of like the butterflies and whatnot, I'm just like, okay, it was a boss. It was cool. Next up is Commander Gaius. Now, this, I think it's a B tier. This was probably, I had the biggest adrenaline crash after beating him. Out of any boss in the game, even the final boss. This was the biggest adrenaline crash I had when I beat him. You can see, here, pull up the clip of me beating him. Got him! You can literally see the moment where I'm like about to pop off, and then it just hits, and I just have to like just sit back, you know, and just take it. Because he was a real, honest to God, what happened was is I had to go, I couldn't use my regular build. I maxed up the backhanded blades and made them lightning, because apparently he was weak to lightning. Because there are some enemies in this game that they don't allow you to get greedy with Bloodhound's Fang and go for like lots of finesses. This was one of them. He was a super duper fun boss fight. The only issue I have is that damn charge attack. No matter how many times he threw it at me, I would never always get it right. Sometimes I'd get it right, sometimes I'd get it wrong. It was so confusing how to properly dodge it and when to time it. Other than that though, he felt really fun. Apparently you could use Torrent in the boss arena. I tried that twice. I don't think you're supposed to fight him with Torrent. It felt so weird. It made the boss fight unnecessarily hard. Like some bosses, like dragon bosses, I feel like are always easier with Torrent most of the time. This guy felt harder with Torrent because I think he had the ability to just chase you down and just hit you. So I just went with backhanded blades, lightning backhanded blades. Like the purest form of a Soulsborne boss fight where I didn't have any poise. I didn't have any like insane iframe moves. I mean, I had what's it, the slash move, but that didn't really do a lot. I had to go for combo moves. Outside of the dash attack, I think is a great boss. He might go into A tier. He took me like a long time. He took me, I think, what? Let's see, how long did he take me? An hour. It took me about an hour to beat. So I thought it was pretty fun too. I think pretty good boss. Next up is Mother of Fingers. This is a C tier boss. The sound, the boss music's cool. The lore is cool. The quest leading up to it's cool. The boss fight just kind of felt meh. This boss fight took me, I believe, 15 minutes. It just felt meh. I wasn't really wowed by it. I couldn't tell you a single move that she used. I'm gonna be real. That's how underwhelming of a boss it felt like. And also, it was always annoying that in order to refight her, if you died, you had to, like, spawn outside of your area and then go use, like, the thing and then go back in. Which, you'll learn, sometimes, even though they make Elden Ring doesn't have the issue of long-ass boss runs, sometimes there's just a couple things that are annoying every time you have to die and come back. And you'll find out right now. Putrescent Knight, F tier. I hated this. I hated this boss fight so much, and it's because it also sort of went against my build. The way Putrescent Knight works was literally, if I went for Bloodhound's Finesse, I could get the first hit in, but I would never be able to get the second hit. And his Frostbite moves, even then, I would jump him and stuff after I realized that diving or dodging doesn't work. It was still, this boss fight just never felt fun. They like basically reused the assets from, was it a gear? What's the, I don't know the name of the dragon boss fight from the Dark Souls 3 DLC. They basically reused his arena, and they reused the basically like the giant drop down. So dying in the boss fight just felt so annoying, because then you just had to run and just wait every time and just wait and wait, and he just never ever really felt fun. His moveset sort of went against my build, so it was like annoying that I couldn't always get 2 hits in and get greedy with my iframes, you know. So overall, I just didn't. And plus, his boss weapon's not that interesting. His only redeeming quality is that like his weapon is vaguely similar to Orphan of Cause's weapon. The boss fight just never felt fun, okay? The boss fight never felt fun. Went against, sort of just didn't like much about it. It's F tier, alright? Next boss fight. Midra. This one also took me 15 minutes. I would put it here. This one was really easy. If Putrescent Knight was annoying for my build, this one played into it the most. I think Bleed probably just hard counters Midra. I think got like, I chunked it. I also, to be fair, fought Midra very late into my playthrough, so I probably had too many Shadow Tree fragments. Regardless, I still, just from a lore perspective and just everything, I think Frenzied Flame is really cool. So just based on that alone, Midra is B tier. Overall, though, pretty easy boss, but just being Frenzied Flame kind of bumps it above these two. Probably as a fight itself, it's probably here, but as an overall package, it's probably here. Next up is Shadow Tree Avatar. This is C tier for me because, in all honesty, in theory, a 3-phase boss is cool. There's just, I don't know. This boss fight just felt very meh to me. When I beat it, it was cool, but I think this one also took me like 15 minutes. So, yeah, I used the Dragon Great Katana just because I realized that, like, eventually I, like, had the ability to, like, I had the facilities to upgrade, like, other weapons to the max. So, this one, I used just the Dragon Blade Great Katana, and I could just hit that thing's, weak spot with the beam. So I chunked it there, but even then, like, I don't know. It was just felt like a whatever boss fight. It didn't really wow me. It wasn't, like, bad. I didn't leave it hating it. It was just underwhelming, you know? I think if anything I put Metter, because in terms of lore, I think Metter's cooler. And soundtrack and everything. Now I need my Wi-Fi to stay alive with me here. Because Bale of Dread is S tier. This is a 10 out of 10 boss fight. From the build-up to the arena and everything, it is 10 out of 10. And when I played, I didn't do Egon or whatever that guy's name side quest. So I didn't get the coolest part of the boss fight. I missed out on an entire side quest related to that boss fight. Killing this boss lets you turn into a dragon. It's so cool. I used the Dragon Blade Great Katana, and even though the Dragon Blade Great Katana, or Dragon Hunter Katana, whatever, even though that's designed to literally counteract dragons, this boss fight still took me, I believe, an hour and 25 minutes. Yeah, so just because the weapon countered it did not make the boss fight any easier. It still took me a really long time. It was really satisfying. The second phase was really cool. Outside of typical, you know, it's a dragon boss fight, so the camera angle can get a little annoying. However, because I was using the Dragon Hunter's Great Katana, I didn't have to worry about that. I could just hold down L2, and I knew that I was going to do some good damage to him. It's just a sick fight all around. Like, the arena, the entire area. I remember first booting up the DLC and seeing Jagged Peak in the distance, and it just looked so cool, and I was like, there's definitely a boss there, and I want to go there. And it was such a good boss fight. Like, I don't know how to explain it other than, like, it never felt bullshit. It never felt like there was some, like, annoying part of the boss fight. It just felt like I just got outskilled. Yeah, to me, Bale, 10 out of 10 boss fight, S tier. And finally, Radahn, Consort of Miquella. F tier. Just kidding. It's A tier. I think the first phase of the boss fight and, like, its soundtrack and everything is really fun and really good. And there's, we'll see. Let me finish speaking first. He just has a couple glaring and annoying issues with the boss fight, which is his meteor attack, which just, it never felt consistent. I remember dodge rolling it. Sometimes dodge rolling worked. Apparently online, some people were saying jump. Jump never worked for me. The move felt so inconsistent, you just had to pray that you didn't get hit by it. You just had to time your roll and just be like, please, God, don't let me get hit. And this was through phase 1. And in phase 2, you had to really pray that you didn't get hit, because all of phase 2 does feel really kind of annoying and dishonest. It's just, the light beams, like, eventually you learn. Obviously, it's every like Dark Souls boss fight, you learn. However, with this boss fight, I think I owe my win to the Marika's Hairbraid Talisman, which drastically reduces holy damage, because there was a time where I literally was on 1 HP in the second phase, and I was able to live and get a couple flasks off. If it was not for that braid, I probably would have died and probably been stuck, because this boss took me 7.5 hours, or I don't know if it's 7.5 or 7. It was around 7 hours, at least 7 hours. This took me the boss. This one was the hardest, and that second phase was so frustrating every time. It was, the light beams were always annoying. Him doing, like, his clone attacks was always annoying. It was just ridiculous. And then, like, when he did his rising attack, outside of the beginning when he does it at the start of phase 2, where you can just book it, every single other time he did it in the second phase, after that, I always got hit by it, which is part of the reason why I had to run Marika's Hairbraid, because otherwise I would have taken so much more damage. It was really annoying and frustrating. Yeah, and there's a very real chance that, like, I could put him B tier, because that second phase just never felt good, okay? And the reason why is because by being the Elden Ring's DLC final boss, I have to, by habit, inherently compare him to Gale from Dark Souls 3 and its DLC. And Gale is by far my favorite Soulsborne boss fight of all time. Gale felt genuinely hard and never felt dishonest at all. It felt like a completely fair fight that you just had to get good at. And that's why I liked it. This one, Phase 1 felt fair and good. Outside of the meteorite attack, Phase 1 felt fair. The moment he had more just unfair hitboxes with the Holy Light, it was just ridiculous, dude. It was so annoying. Especially because with the meteorite attack, it got even more annoying Phase 2 because then he had to do the clone thing. It was just awful. It was an awful experience, but it was satisfying to finally beat. And the one funny thing about me, even though it took me 7 hours to beat him, I only got to like his 25% of his health twice, where he does the thing he did during the first Radahn boss fight in like vanilla Elden Ring, where he comes from the sky and then crash lands. I only encountered that. I only got to that point twice. The first time I did it, I died to it. The next attempt, I died in Phase 1. And then the attempt after that, I beat the game. So, in the 7 hours, I only got to 25% of his health or lower twice. And those were 2 out of my 3 last attempts. So, it was, like, once I got the second phase down and it clicked, I was able to beat him. But if you look at if you watch me fight him in the entirety in that final fight, you learn that just because I had like 70% of his second phase down, I still got hit by so many attacks. I literally almost died. I was at 1 HP at one point in that boss fight, but I persevered. So I don't think there's really many changes. I feel like this is pretty good for overall. Yeah, this was the Elden Ring DLC boss tier list. I know there's all these other bosses down here, but these are the remembrance bosses. These are the major bosses, and that's what I wanted to rank. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. We're almost at 100 subscribers. Also, if you don't mind following the Twitch, which is what I'm streaming on right now. You probably didn't know this, but I was streaming this, and there were so many internet issues that has just plagued this tier list right now. But I think we finally got past it all. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah.